Alright, let's talk about Beauty and the Beast, because somehow the conversation around this movie always ends up being about Stockholm Syndrome, when in reality we've been completely missing the point. What if I told you that Belle isn't just the victim but the actual hero of the story? And I know you probably have heard that before, but just give me a second, okay? Jeez. What if I told you that the Beast isn't just a brooding captor, but a fully fleshed out character on a redemption arc, one we would have fully accepted without ever calling it manipulative if he were female? What if I told you that this isn't even a love story in the traditional sense that we think it is? It's actually about power and control and trauma recovery and the way society dehumanizes people based on how they look. So let's get into it. Let's start with Belle. The first song we hear is about how Belle is weird and eccentric, and how at the same time though everyone is oddly intrigued. What this is trying to say is, if this woman wouldn't have been conventionally attractive, nobody would have given a flying crap about her. Because that's what happens in real life, okay? But because she's attractive, her smarts are seen, yes, but they end up being treated almost like a mysterious and atypical trait. Like, she's not like other girls, you know, she reads. Instead of being seen as what it actually is, a fundamental part of who she is, part of her identity. Psychologically, this is tokenization, where a unique trait like intelligence in a woman, especially in a small town setting, gets reduced to a novelty rather than something meaningful. The townspeople aren't actively being cruel, okay, but their superficiality is suffocating. Belle isn't just an outsider, she's intellectually isolated, and that's a very real form of loneliness. I mean, even Cogsworth was surprised that she figured out on her own that the castle was enchanted. Like, seriously, man? It's not that hard to figure out, okay? And then, for a brief moment, the song shifts and we actually hear her. Not the town's perception of her, but her own voice, and she sings about the story she is reading, where the protagonist meets their prince but won't realize it's their prince until chapter 3. It's not just foreshadowing here, it's a window into what Belle craves. She doesn't want easy, obvious surface level interactions. She wants depth, discovery, and something that unfolds, because that's what excites her. And that's why she really doesn't belong in the village, actually. Because she needs intellectual stimulation, and yes, that's also tied to attraction. Because for someone like Belle, romance is about finding someone who meets her mind before anything else, and in an environment where everything needs to be discovered, even love. And I mean, we can also get to see why she is the way that she is. Her father is a literal inventor, a scientist. And not only, but think about it, when he first meets Cogsworth and Lumiere, his first instinct is not to yell or get scared. He is curious. He starts wondering what about it makes it talk, reflecting something some of you might connect to. Belle most probably grew up to see curiosity as a love language, and as an adult, it's very hard to find that in people. And that happens because she likely grew up in a home where curiosity was encouraged, where asking questions was a form of connection, where discovery was love. Discover about each other was seen as love. I mean, she talks about it literally with her father, about her need of discovery and adventure, and how she wants someone that will respect that. So let me be clear. She planned on getting a man all along, and there's nothing wrong with that. Which leads me to a very important topic. Very often we paint falling in love and getting married as the end. And the opinions about this movie are a very good example of that. We have a character going through an amazing adventure, and we reduce it to, oh well, she got a man in the end, so that makes it all worthless. I mean, yeah, that's an interesting logic, but I don't know, unpopular opinion at this point, question mark? Marriage and falling in love isn't supposed to be the end, not even a happy one, okay? It's supposed to be a beginning of wonderful adventures and challenges and lessons and the million other things that make a relationship. Why instead not seeing the fact that she saved the day and found love at the same time? I'd say she has successfully got all the things she asked for in the very beginning. Adventure, and sharing said adventure with someone that understands her. Celebrate this fucking girl, okay? That is the epitome of being the feminist. And like, I don't know if you know, but back in these times, being part of some sort of royalty kind of dynamic was an adventure in per se. I doubt that women had the right to higher education in these times, but to be fair, I have no idea what times is this supposed to be. The 1800s, perhaps? No idea. Now, Belle does something extremely brave in this movie, and even trying of seeing this through the lens of seeing Belle as a victim or as Stockholm is just insulting. I don't know why. Well, I'm so glad nobody asked, because what Belle does is negotiation under duress with a side of absolute queen behavior. She's not brainwashed. She's making a calculated trade, her freedom, for her father's, who, by the way, is sick. I mean, the movie really said high fucking stakes, you know what I mean? And you know what she doesn't do? Yeah, she doesn't get emotionally attached. She's not sitting there thinking about the beast, maybe he's not so bad. No, she's immediately calling him out, setting boundaries, skipping dinner out of pure pettiness after all. Stockholm Syndrome is about psychological dependence, but Belle is not dependent on anyone at all, actually. If anything, she's an uncooperative hostage. She chose to stay, but she's gonna make damn sure she still has her agency, okay? Instead, very often I hear this idea that Belle had no choice, which is just baffling, okay? Not only does she make choices, but her choices are what drive the entire story. She chooses to leave when the beast snaps at her in the West Wing, after she broke one of his boundaries, by the way, which, considering his trauma, probably triggered his deep-seated fears of invasion and rejection. She chose to come back, and not because she's trapped and not because of magic, but because she has loyalty as one of her values, which is a classic hero trait. Staying and saving the beast after the beast saves her isn't a condition, it's an act of honor. She gave her word, they made a deal, and that for her is important. Plus, it's the whole reason why she got the beast in his fields, but more on that later.